Have you ever traveled through a place that most people think they already understand, only to discover that everything they know barely scratches the surface? Most people hear the name Cianjur and think of one thing: a religious city, a quiet regency in West Java, a place people pass on their way to Bandung, Puncak, or Jakarta. But what if I told you that beneath the mist-covered mountains, fertile rice fields, and peaceful villages lies one of Indonesia's most fascinating regions, a land that may hold the key to one of the greatest archaeological mysteries in human history, a land where ancient civilizations left their footprints thousands of years ago, a land where breathtaking nature, deep spiritual traditions, rich agriculture, and cultural treasures come together in ways few places can match. This is Cianjur, and the story you are about to hear may completely change the way you see this remarkable corner of Indonesia. Located in the heart of West Java, Cianjur Regency stretches across more than 3,800 square kilometres of diverse landscapes. Towering volcanic mountains rise above lush valleys. Endless rice paddies shimmer under the tropical sun. Dense forests protect hidden waterfalls. Ancient traditions continue to thrive among modern communities. For centuries, Cianjur has been known as Kota Santri, the city of Islamic scholars. The region is home to countless pesantren, Islamic boarding schools that have educated generations of religious leaders, teachers, and community figures. Yet, reducing Cianjur to only a religious centre would be like describing an ocean as merely water. Its true story is far deeper, far older, far more extraordinary. To understand Cianjur, we must begin with a mystery that has captured the attention of archaeologists, historians, geologists, and researchers around the world. High in the hills of Cianjur stands a site unlike any other in Southeast Asia, a place known as Gunung Padang. At first glance, it appears to be a hill covered in unusual stone formations, but look closer, much closer. You will find terraces carefully arranged with volcanic stone columns, ancient pathways, megalithic structures, and layers of construction that seem to suggest multiple periods of human activity. Today, Gunung Padang is widely recognized as one of the largest megalithic sites in Southeast Asia. The site sits approximately 885 meters above sea level and has become one of Indonesia's most important archaeological locations. Researchers continue to debate its age, purpose, and origins. Some studies suggest portions of the site could be significantly older than previously believed. Others argue that more evidence is needed before drawing conclusions. The debate remains ongoing. What is undeniable, however, is that Gunung Padang represents one of Indonesia's most intriguing archaeological treasures. Imagine standing there at sunrise, the mountain air cool against your skin, mist drifting through the valleys below, ancient stones stretching across the hilltop. You begin to realize that people may have gathered on this very spot thousands of years ago. They looked at the same mountains, the same horizon, the same sky. The feeling is humbling. It reminds us that human history is often far more complex than we imagine. Yet, Gunung Padang is only the beginning. Cianjur is also a land of extraordinary creativity. Across villages and communities, traditional craftsmanship continues to flourish. Generations of artisans have passed down skills that transform simple natural materials into beautiful works of art. Bamboo weaving remains an important cultural tradition. From baskets and household items to decorative creations, local craftsmen demonstrate remarkable precision and patience. Wood carving also plays an important role in preserving local artistic heritage. Every carved pattern tells a story. Every design reflects generations of accumulated knowledge. Traditional batik production contributes another layer to Cianjur's cultural identity. Unlike factory-made products, handmade batik requires dedication, skill, and artistic vision. The process can take days or even weeks. Each piece becomes a reflection of the artisan's creativity and cultural roots. In a rapidly changing world, these traditions serve as living connections between the past and present. They remind us that true craftsmanship cannot be rushed, that beauty often emerges from patience, that culture survives because people choose to preserve it. Then there is the natural beauty, and this is where Cianjur truly shines. Many travelers are surprised to discover how diverse the region's landscapes really are. One moment, you are surrounded by towering mountain forests. The next, you find yourself standing beside a cascading waterfall hidden deep within nature. Among the region's most famous attractions is the area surrounding Cibodas. Nestled on the slopes of Mount Gede and Mount Pangrango, this highland environment offers cooler temperatures, fresh mountain air, and stunning biodiversity. The renowned Cibodas Botanical Garden serves as both a conservation centre and a natural paradise. Thousands of plant species thrive within its boundaries. Towering trees create peaceful pathways. Colourful flowers bloom throughout the year. Researchers, students, and nature enthusiasts visit from across Indonesia and beyond. Nearby mountain trails attract hikers seeking adventure and breathtaking scenery. As the morning sun filters through the forest canopy, every step feels like entering another world, a world where nature still reigns supreme. Waterfalls add another dimension to Cianjur's beauty. Streams born from volcanic mountains carve their way through valleys and forests. The result is a collection of stunning cascades that provide moments of peace and wonder. The sound of rushing water, the scent of wet earth, the cool mist carried by the wind. Experiences like these remind us how deeply connected humans remain to the natural world. Beyond tourism, Cianjur's landscapes also support one of its most important economic strengths, agriculture. For generations, the fertile soils of Cianjur have fed communities across West Java and Indonesia. The region is particularly famous for its rice production. Many Indonesians recognize the reputation of Cianjur rice, valued for its quality and flavor. But rice is only part of the story. Farmers cultivate a wide variety of vegetables, fruits, and agricultural products. The combination of fertile volcanic soil, abundant rainfall, and favorable climate creates ideal growing conditions. Travel through rural Cianjur and you will witness vast green fields stretching toward distant mountains. Farmers begin work before sunrise. Families pass down agricultural knowledge from one generation to the next. Every harvest represents countless hours of effort, patience, and resilience. Agriculture here is not merely an industry, it is a way of life, a relationship between people and land that has endured for centuries. And where there is agriculture, there is food, wonderful food. Cianjur's culinary traditions reflect the richness of its cultural heritage. Local markets offer a fascinating glimpse into everyday life. Traditional snacks, fresh produce, and regional specialities fill stores with colour and aroma. Puyum, a fermented cassava delicacy, remains a beloved favourite. Its unique flavour reflects generations of culinary innovation. Rangan, a traditional snack made from rice flour and coconut, continues to delight locals and visitors alike. Across the region, families preserve recipes that connect them to their ancestors. Food becomes more than nourishment. It becomes memory, identity, community. Every meal tells a story. Every flavour carries history. Of course, no discussion of Cianjur would be complete without exploring its role as a centre of Islamic education. For decades, pesantren have served as pillars of community life. Students come not only to learn religious knowledge, but also to develop character, discipline, and social responsibility. The influence of these institutions extends far beyond classroom walls. They help shape local culture, strengthen social bonds, and contribute to the moral foundation of society. This spiritual dimension adds another layer to Cianjur's identity, a reminder that progress and tradition do not need to be enemies. They can coexist, support one another, and grow together. Yet perhaps one of the most surprising facts about Cianjur lies within its historical significance. Many people are unaware that during parts of the colonial era, Cianjur played an important administrative role in the region. Its strategic location and political importance contributed to its influence in West Java's development. Historical buildings, ancient sites, and cultural landmarks continue to provide clues about the region's past. Every artifact discovered, every archaeological site explored, every historical record uncovered adds another piece to the puzzle of Cianjur's story. And that story stretches back much further than many realize. Long before modern roads, long before colonial governments, long before Indonesia became a nation, human communities were already living, building, farming, and creating culture in this region. Archaeological discoveries throughout Cianjur continue to reveal evidence of ancient human activity. These findings help historians better understand how societies evolved across West Java. They remind us that history is not something distant and disconnected. It lives beneath our feet, in our traditions, in our languages, in the landscapes that surround us. As we look toward the future, Cianjur stands at an important crossroads. Tourism continues to grow. Infrastructure continues to improve. New opportunities emerge each year. Yet the greatest challenge remains preserving what makes the region special: its natural beauty, its cultural heritage, its historical treasures, its agricultural traditions, its spiritual values. The world is changing rapidly, but places like Cianjur remind us that progress should never require forgetting who we are. The most successful communities are often those that embrace innovation while protecting their roots, and Cianjur offers a powerful example of that balance. So the next time someone tells you that Cianjur is simply a city of religious schools, remember this story. Remember the mysterious stones of Gunung Padang. Remember the skilled artisans preserving centuries of craftsmanship. Remember the mountain forests, waterfalls, and botanical gardens. Remember the farmers cultivating fertile lands beneath volcanic peaks. Remember the ancient history hidden across the landscape. Remember the culture, the food, the traditions, and the people. Because Cianjur is not just a destination. It is a living archive of Indonesia's past, a showcase of Indonesia's present, and a glimpse into Indonesia's future. In a world obsessed with famous cities and crowded tourist hotspots, Cianjur quietly waits, patient, authentic, extraordinary. A place where history whispers through ancient stones, where nature paints breathtaking masterpieces, where culture survives through generations, and where every journey reveals something new. Perhaps that is the greatest lesson Cianjur offers. Sometimes the most remarkable places are not the ones that shout the loudest. They are the ones that patiently hold their secrets, waiting for curious travelers to discover them. And once you truly discover Cianjur, you will never look at this region of West Java the same way again. But the deeper you go into Cianjur's story, the more you begin to realize that this regency is not merely a place on a map. It is a reflection of Indonesia itself, a place where countless layers of history overlap, a place where ancient traditions meet modern aspirations, a place where resilience has been tested again and again. And perhaps nowhere is that resilience more visible than in the spirit of its people. For generations, the people of Cianjur have lived in close relationship with nature. The mountains provide water, the forests provide protection, the fertile valleys provide food. Yet living alongside nature also means accepting its power. West Java sits within one of the most geologically active regions on Earth. Volcanic activity has shaped its landscapes for thousands of years. Earthquakes have periodically reminded communities of nature's immense force. And despite these challenges, the people of Cianjur continue to rebuild, adapt, and move forward. That resilience is woven into everyday life. You can see it in farmers working under the morning sun. You can see it in teachers educating the next generation. You can see it in craftsmen preserving cultural traditions despite economic pressures. You can see it in families who continue to believe in a better future. Resilience is not built in moments of comfort. It is built through perseverance, through faith, through community. And Cianjur has all three. Travel through the region and you will notice something remarkable. Life moves at a different rhythm. Not slower, not faster, simply different. The sounds of motorcycles and markets coexist with the calls of birds from nearby forests. Traditional homes stand beside modern buildings. Religious traditions continue alongside technological progress. This coexistence creates a unique atmosphere, a sense that history has not been erased. Instead, it has been carried forward. Many regions around the world have sacrificed cultural identity in pursuit of modernization. But in Cianjur, many communities continue to protect their heritage while embracing change. Traditional ceremonies remain important. Local arts continue to be practiced. Family values remain deeply rooted. This cultural continuity gives Cianjur something increasingly rare in today's world: authenticity. Not the authenticity created for tourists, not the authenticity designed for social media, but genuine authenticity shaped by generations of lived experience. And that authenticity becomes even more powerful when viewed through the lens of Indonesia's larger story. Indonesia is one of the most culturally diverse nations on Earth. More than 17,000 islands, hundreds of ethnic groups, hundreds of languages, countless traditions. Each region contributes a unique chapter to the nation's identity. Cianjur's chapter is one of perseverance, spirituality, agriculture, culture, and mystery. A chapter that deserves far more attention than it often receives. Because hidden within Cianjur is a lesson that many modern societies desperately need. The lesson that progress does not require abandoning heritage. The lesson that development and preservation can coexist. The lesson that communities become stronger when they remember where they came from. Consider Gunung Padang once more. Whether future research confirms existing theories or reveals entirely new discoveries, the site has already accomplished something extraordinary. It has encouraged people to ask questions, to investigate, to explore, to challenge assumptions. That spirit of curiosity is one of humanity's greatest strengths. Every scientific breakthrough began with a question. Every historical discovery began with curiosity. Every journey of exploration started with someone willing to venture beyond the familiar. Gunung Padang reminds us that there are still mysteries waiting to be solved, still stories waiting to be uncovered, still chapters of human history that remain incomplete. And perhaps that is why the site continues to fascinate people around the world, because deep down, we all want to understand where we came from. We all want to know the stories hidden beneath the surface. We all want to feel connected to something larger than ourselves. Yet Cianjur's significance is not limited to the distant past. Its future may be just as important. As sustainable tourism becomes increasingly valuable, regions like Cianjur possess enormous potential. Travelers today are searching for more than luxury hotels and crowded attractions. They are searching for meaning, for authenticity, for experiences that create lasting memories. Cianjur offers all of these. Imagine waking before dawn and watching sunlight slowly illuminate Mount Gede. Imagine walking through rice fields as morning mist rises from the earth. Imagine speaking with local artisans whose skills have been passed down through generations. Imagine exploring ancient archaeological sites while contemplating the mysteries of human civilization. Imagine tasting traditional foods prepared using recipes that have survived for centuries. These are not experiences that can be manufactured. They are experiences rooted in place, rooted in culture, rooted in history. And that is precisely what makes them valuable. In an increasingly connected world, unique local identities become even more important. Because when every city begins to look the same, authenticity becomes priceless. Cianjur still possesses that authenticity, and preserving it should be a priority not only for local communities, but for Indonesia as a whole. Future generations deserve the opportunity to walk through Gunung Padang, to learn traditional crafts, to enjoy pristine mountain landscapes, to experience living cultural traditions, to understand the stories that shaped their ancestors. Heritage is not simply about preserving old buildings or archaeological sites. Heritage is about preserving memory, preserving identity, preserving wisdom accumulated over centuries. When heritage disappears, part of humanity's collective story disappears with it. That is why places like Cianjur matter, not only to West Java, not only to Indonesia, but to the world. Because every culture holds unique knowledge. Every community contributes something valuable. Every historical site contains lessons waiting to be learned. And every generation has a responsibility to protect these treasures for those who come after them. As the sun sets behind Cianjur's mountains and shadows stretch across the valleys, it becomes easier to understand why this region leaves such a powerful impression on those who truly explore it. The landscape is beautiful, the history is fascinating, the culture is inspiring, but what stays with you most is the feeling that you have encountered a place that remains deeply connected to its roots, a place that remembers its past while looking toward its future, a place that still understands the importance of community, tradition, and identity. In many ways, Cianjur represents the best of Indonesia, its diversity, its resilience, its spirituality, its creativity, its natural beauty, its enduring optimism. And perhaps that is the ultimate reason why Cianjur deserves greater recognition, not because it wants attention, not because it seeks fame, but because its story has something important to teach us. A lesson about resilience, a lesson about heritage, a lesson about curiosity, a lesson about balance, a lesson about what truly matters. So if you ever find yourself traveling through West Java, do not rush past Cianjur. Do not treat it as merely a stop between destinations. Slow down, look closer, listen carefully, walk its trails, explore its history, meet its people, taste its food, learn its stories. Because behind every mountain lies another discovery. Behind every tradition lies another lesson. Behind every stone lies another chapter of history. And behind the name Cianjur lies a remarkable story that is still being written. A story of ancient mysteries, of enduring faith, of cultural pride, of natural beauty, of human resilience. A story that began thousands of years ago and one that will continue long into the future. This is not simply the story of a regency in West Java. This is the story of a place that reminds us who we are, where we came from, and why preserving our heritage may be one of the most important responsibilities we have. Because when the world changes, as it always does, the places that remember their roots become the places that guide the future. And Cianjur, quietly standing among the mountains of West Java, continues to do exactly that. And yet, there is another side of Cianjur that few people ever talk about. It is not found in guidebooks. It is not measured in statistics. It cannot be fully captured by photographs. It is the soul of the place, the invisible thread connecting generations across centuries, the feeling that history is not something trapped in museums, but something alive, something breathing, something present in everyday life. Walk through a traditional village in Cianjur during the early morning hours. The first call to prayer echoes across the landscape. Mist hangs above the rice fields. Farmers prepare their tools before sunrise. Children begin their journey to school. Market vendors arrange fresh produce harvested only hours earlier. Life unfolds with a rhythm that has remained remarkably consistent despite the rapid transformation of the modern world. There is wisdom in that rhythm, a wisdom often overlooked in an age obsessed with speed. Today, many people spend their lives rushing toward the next goal, the next promotion, the next destination, the next achievement. Yet places like Cianjur remind us that some of life's greatest treasures cannot be rushed. Rice grows according to nature's timetable. Trees mature over decades. Traditions survive through patience. Communities strengthen through time. History reveals itself layer by layer. Nothing truly meaningful happens overnight. That lesson can be seen everywhere throughout Cianjur, in the fields, in the forests, in the villages, in the ancient stones of Gunung Padang, in the hands of artisans creating works of beauty using techniques inherited from their ancestors. Everywhere you look, there is evidence of continuity, evidence that some values remain timeless: respect for family, respect for knowledge, respect for faith, respect for nature, respect for community. These values have helped shape Cianjur for generations, and they may be more relevant today than ever before. Because while technology continues to transform how we live, work, and communicate, human beings still seek the same fundamental things they have always sought: purpose, belonging, meaning, connection. And those elements remain deeply embedded within the culture of Cianjur. Perhaps that is why visitors often leave with more than photographs. They leave with perspective, the realization that happiness is not always found in bigger cities, not always found in wealth, not always found in constant consumption. Sometimes it is found in simpler things: a shared meal, a meaningful conversation, a beautiful landscape, a strong community, a connection to something larger than oneself. For many travelers, these experiences become the most memorable parts of their journey. Years later, they may forget hotel names, they may forget travel schedules, but they remember how a place made them feel. And Cianjur has a remarkable ability to make people feel connected to nature, connected to history, connected to culture, connected to humanity itself. This connection becomes especially powerful when we consider the challenges facing the modern world. Climate change threatens ecosystems. Urbanization transforms traditional communities. Globalization creates opportunities, but also pressures local cultures. Many historical sites face risks from development and neglect. These challenges are not unique to Cianjur. They exist across the globe. But Cianjur stands as an example of why preservation matters, why cultural heritage matters, why environmental conservation matters, why historical research matters. Because once something is lost, it may never be recovered. A destroyed archaeological site can never be rebuilt exactly as it was. A forgotten tradition may disappear forever. A damaged ecosystem may require generations to recover. The decisions made today will shape what future generations inherit tomorrow. That reality places tremendous importance on protecting places like Cianjur, not simply because they are beautiful, not simply because they attract tourists, but because they contain knowledge accumulated through centuries of human experience, knowledge about agriculture, knowledge about community, knowledge about spirituality, knowledge about living sustainably within natural environments, knowledge that remains valuable regardless of how advanced technology becomes. The world often celebrates innovation, and innovation is important, but preservation is equally important, Because innovation tells us where we are going, preservation reminds us where we came from. The strongest societies understand both. They build the future without erasing the past. They embrace progress without abandoning identity. They create new opportunities while protecting cultural foundations. In many ways, Cianjur embodies this balance, and perhaps that is why its story resonates far beyond the borders of West Java. It is ultimately a story about humanity, a story about our relationship with history, a story about our relationship with nature, a story about our responsibility to future generations, a story about the enduring power of culture. And as the world becomes increasingly interconnected, stories like these become more important, not less, because they remind us that diversity is one of humanity's greatest strengths. Every region has something unique to contribute. Every community possesses wisdom worth sharing. Every culture contains lessons worth preserving. Cianjur's contribution is profound. It teaches us that mystery still exists in the modern world. It teaches us that ancient history remains relevant. It teaches us that spiritual traditions continue to shape communities. It teaches us that nature remains one of our greatest teachers. It teaches us that resilience is built through unity and perseverance. And perhaps most importantly, it teaches us that extraordinary stories often exist in places we least expect. Not every wonder of the world stands beneath bright lights. Not every treasure appears on international headlines. Not every remarkable destination dominates social media feeds. Some of the most meaningful places remain quietly extraordinary. They wait patiently for those willing to look beyond the obvious, willing to ask questions, willing to explore, willing to listen. Cianjur is one of those places, a place where ancient mysteries continue to inspire research, a place where traditions continue to shape identity, a place where mountains, forests and fertile valleys create landscapes of breathtaking beauty, a place where history remains alive, a place where the future is being built upon foundations laid centuries ago. And perhaps one day, when historians uncover new discoveries, when archaeologists reveal new evidence, when researchers learn more about the civilizations that once occupied these lands, the world may come to recognize what local communities have understood all along, that Cianjur is far more than a dot on a map, far more than a stop along a highway, far more than a simple regency in West Java. It is a living testament to the enduring power of human civilization, a bridge connecting past and future, a place where memory survives, a place where culture thrives, a place where nature still inspires wonder, a place where every stone, every field, every mountain, and every tradition contributes to a story far greater than itself. And that story continues today, with every sunrise over the rice fields, the invisible force that allows civilizations to survive. History often celebrates dramatic events, great battles, political revolutions, technological breakthroughs. Yet most of human progress has always been built through ordinary people doing extraordinary things consistently over time. A farmer planting seeds, a teacher sharing knowledge, a craftsman preserving tradition, a family passing values from one generation to another. These seemingly simple acts become the foundation upon which societies are built. And nowhere is this more evident than in places like Cianjur. For centuries, this region has quietly contributed to the larger story of Indonesia. Its fertile lands have helped feed communities. Its educational institutions have shaped minds. Its cultural traditions have enriched national heritage. Its historical sites have expanded our understanding of the past. Its people have demonstrated the enduring strength of community. Yet despite these contributions, Cianjur often remains overlooked, perhaps because it does not seek attention, perhaps because its greatest achievements are measured not in headlines, but in generations, not in publicity, but in legacy. And there is something profoundly admirable about that. In a world where visibility is often mistaken for importance, Cianjur reminds us that true significance does not require constant recognition. Some of the most important places in history were never the loudest. Some of the most influential communities were never the most famous. Some of the most meaningful contributions were made quietly, patiently, consistently, over long periods of time. That is exactly what Cianjur has done and continues to do today. As Indonesia moves deeper into the 21st century, regions like Cianjur will play an increasingly important role in shaping the nation's future. Not simply because of their economic potential, not simply because of their tourism opportunities, but because they preserve something essential: identity. In an era of globalization, identity becomes incredibly valuable. It provides stability, it provides meaning, it provides continuity. It reminds people where they come from and helps guide where they are going. Cianjur possesses that identity in abundance. You can hear it in local stories, see it in traditional ceremonies, taste it in regional cuisine, feel it in community life, observe it in religious traditions, discover it in archaeological treasures, witness it in everyday acts of kindness and cooperation. Identity lives everywhere here, and that identity is one of the region's greatest strengths. Imagine for a moment what Cianjur might look like 50 years from now. The roads may be different, technology will certainly be different, the economy will evolve, new generations will emerge. The world itself will continue changing in ways we cannot yet predict. But if the people of Cianjur continue protecting what makes their region unique, its essential character will endure. Future visitors will still marvel at Gunung Padang. Future students will still learn about local history. Future families will still celebrate cultural traditions. Future farmers will still cultivate fertile lands. Future communities will still gather around shared values. And future generations will still inherit a story worth preserving. That possibility is inspiring, because it demonstrates that heritage is not about living in the past. Heritage is about carrying the best parts of the past into the future. It is about ensuring that wisdom, accumulated across centuries, remains available to those who come next. It is about creating continuity in a rapidly changing world. That continuity may become one of humanity's most valuable resources. As technology accelerates and societies transform, people increasingly seek anchors, places that provide perspective, places that provide authenticity, places that provide connection. Cianjur offers all three, and perhaps that explains why so many who visit leave with a renewed appreciation for history, culture, and community. Because Cianjur does more than tell a story. It helps people understand their place within a much larger story, the story of human civilization, the story of Indonesia, the story of communities that endure across generations, the story of people who refuse to let their heritage disappear. As our journey through Cianjur draws closer to its conclusion, one image remains impossible to forget: the image of Gunung Padang rising above the surrounding hills. Ancient stones standing silently against the passage of time, weathering centuries, perhaps millennia, watching generations come and go, watching history unfold, watching civilizations evolve. Those stones remind us of something important. Human beings are temporary. Civilizations are temporary. Even nations are temporary. But the ideas we preserve, the values we protect, the knowledge we pass forward, those things can endure for centuries, and that is ultimately what Cianjur represents: endurance, the endurance of culture, the endurance of memory, the endurance of community, the endurance of hope. Because despite every challenge, every transformation, every uncertainty, the story continues. The fields continue producing harvests. The schools continue educating students. The artisans continue creating beauty. The communities continue preserving traditions. The mountains continue watching over the valleys. And the people continue writing new chapters in a story that began long before any of us were born, a story that will continue long after we are gone. Perhaps that is the greatest reason to celebrate Cianjur, not because it is perfect, not because it is famous, not because it seeks recognition, but because it represents something timeless, the enduring human desire to remember, to preserve, to learn, to grow, to belong, and to leave the world better than we found it. In the end, that is the true legacy of Cianjur, a legacy written not only in stone, but in people, not only in history, but in hope, not only in memory, but in the future. And as long as those values remain alive, the story of Cianjur will never truly end. It will continue inspiring new generations, continue revealing new discoveries, continue preserving old wisdom, continue reminding the world that some places are far more than locations on a map. They are living symbols of humanity's journey through time. And among those places, standing proudly in the heart of West Java, is Cianjur, a land of mystery, a land of beauty, a land of resilience, a land of heritage, a land whose greatest chapter may still be waiting to be written.